The following program contains graphic calls to personal responsibility. If you are addicted to the system, Randall may not be right for you. Check with your local welfare office.
Proclaiming the truth in the highways and byways of the world. Fighting for justice in the dark alleys of politics. Raising the voice of resistance to a fevered pitch. And he knows where to find the best and worst jail food in America. Randall Terry.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I don't even believe in evolution, so take that and smoke it. These people can't get enough of me. That's why they keep insulting me. Today's program, one for the archives, the $30 billion bribe to save Democrat seats. Are you going in on this here, small businessman? And polling data shows that the days of Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House, not long for this world. You've killed my beautiful wickedness. Yeah, you're a witch, Nancy. And the polling data is in. If President Obama's election were today, he would not be the next president of the United States. And does Fox News Network have a president on the payroll? Today's program brought to you in part by Newt Gingrich, seducing the Tea Party movement one leader at a time. And by the Windy City. We brought you Al Capone, Obama, and maybe Rahm Emanuel. I'm going to take a quick break and give my friend, that gangster guy, a chance to say something profound. Then I'm going to come back and do a butt-kicking show.
The word in the street for some time is that an up-and-coming criminal would try and take the Daily Dynasty in the land of Al Capone, Chicago. It turns out that it's true. Rahm Emanuel, oh, Marom, what a piece of work. He's as crooked as a Sicilian gangster. Be that as it may, we wish him well, because, in my opinion, if you're going to be a criminal that helps destroy a nation, you might as well be in a city as opposed to the White House. I think he can do a little less damage with his fancy pants shoes there in Chicago. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, by me, I'll be your slave. Please give me a chance to sell my soul to the socialist plantation. Please, just a few crumbs for my poor failing business. Take money from my neighbor's pocket, yes, so that I can prosper. The President of the United States has signed the $30 billion Small Business Buyout. I don't even know, the Small Business Jobs Act. It's bribery. All right? It's redistribution of the wealth. I don't care if it's us, the slave workers on the plantation, bailing out Wall Street, or now asking our neighbor to bail out small businesses. Will we never learn? Why are they doing this? Let me tell you why. Because pollsters are calling the Midwest, ready? The Democratic killing fields. The killing fields, yes. It's the place where Democratic governors and Democratic congressmen go to meet eternal political oblivion. You see, the Democrats are about to get their hind end handed to them. Right now, polling data shows 215 to 220. Yes, 215 to the Democrats, 220 to the Republicans. That's a 5-seat majority. That would mean Nancy Pelosi is no longer the Speaker of the House. So, in a last-ditch effort to bribe the middle-class voters who are self-employed, they have introduced the Small Business Jobs Act. I can't even bring myself to memorize the name of this cursed thing. But I do want to say one little itty-bitty thing to my fellow Tea Party activists. Are you a socialist, yes or no? Are you taking government money to buy a car? Cash for a clunker? Are you taking government money to, say, bail out your mortgage? Well, yes, I am, but I'm a tax-paying person and the government is there to help us. Excuse me. It's not the government's money. It's your neighbor's money. Yeah? This money comes from your neighbor's pocket. So we can scream our lungs out about the bailout of banks and insurance industries and Wall Street corporations and blah, 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 as we should. But if we turn around and take money from the government for our car, or for, let's go to some of our favorite ones, because, I've harped enough on cars and stuff. Let's talk about education. If we go to the government and get the government to give us or our kids money for college, socialism. If we get the government to bail us out, say, out of a medical situation, socialism. If we get the government to pay for the modification of a building, socialism. I think you're starting to get the point. And the problem is this. There are some really good people who have been catechized in the temples of their enemies. And they don't even realize when they have bit the poison apple, when they have hook, line, and sinker fallen for what the government is trying to do. If you or I, if we take a penny from the government for a specific thing, not the general welfare like a road or an army or the mail, but a specific thing, then we are participating in socialism. I know that it's unpleasant to face these realities, but it's the truth. When we come back from this break, I'm going to talk about Newt Gingrich and what's happening with Tea Party leaders. Because right now, this movement is in the middle of being co-opted by people with an agenda. And I don't mind people who have an agenda. I just want it to be the right agenda. Are you hearing me? Tea Party leaders, Tea Party activists, Newt Gingrich, not our friend. Newt Gingrich, not our friend. Let me say one more time before we take break for commercial. Ready? Newt Gingrich, not our friend.
I remember when Randall and I listened to Teddy Roosevelt's Whistle Stop campaign on the Bull Moose ticket. He didn't buy his arguments then, and he hasn't changed a bit since.
Moments with Moses. All the leading priests and the people likewise were exceedingly unfaithful, following all the abominations of the nations. And they polluted the house of the Lord, which he had hallowed in Jerusalem.
Newt Gingrich, not our friend. Newt Gingrich, not our friend. Newt Gingrich. Well, then who is our friend? I don't know. Fox News bought them all. Yes. Do you realize that out of the 5 major Republican possibles for the presidency, 4 of them right now are on the Fox News payroll? Look at their faces. Sarah Palin, Newt Gingrich, Rick Santorum, and Michael Huckabee. All 4 of them on the payroll for Fox. Mitt Romney is not. Now, this is causing no small bit of consternation with other networks. Because guess why? They have an exclusive deal with Fox. They contractually, get this, are not allowed to appear on other networks to comment on the news. So if NBC calls up Sarah Palin and says, Sarah, Miss Palin, Madam Governor, we'd like you to be on and talk about the $30 billion buyout plan or the stimulus package for small business. Guess what she has to say? Check with my attorney who has to check with Fox. And Fox says, no speaking to English, no understand, no goodbye. Yeah. And so they've got 4 of the 5 contenders on the payroll. And it's really kind of well, besides being genius, it's evil. Because These people are getting, these four candidates are getting potential candidates. They're getting a steady stream of viewers who are going to Fox. And they're able to stand there, or sit there, however their position is, and they're going to say profound words that make them look oh so presidential. Meanwhile, the other networks are trying to figure out, how do we cover these people? How do we cover them? How do we have them on to answer tough questions if they're all on Fox's payroll? Now, here's the deal. If they do formally announce for the presidency, then the deal with Fox is severed, and they go on their way. This would keep some of them, perhaps, from announcing a bid for the presidency because the weekly paycheck gets cut off. I find this, in my heart of hearts, to be decent business. I'll grant that. But it's bad for the country. It's bad for the country because nobody's asking Sarah Palin tough questions right now. Nobody's asking Newt Gingrich tough questions right now. Because they can't appear on these other networks unless Fox gives permission. And in a statement released by Fox, they said it's very, very rare. Maybe if they write a book, we'll let them out of their contract for a book promotional tour. Ooh, because we all know that there's really tough questions when a book comes out, don't we? So here it is, 2012. I know, it seems like 2004, or rather, here it is, 2010. My slip. It seems like 2012 can't get here fast enough. Please, can't we just get the clock to go forward a little quicker? Because we don't want this man, Obama, in the White House. Now, if I were Newt Gingrich or Sarah Palin, Mike Huckabee, I might be strangely comfortable with this current scenario. And the reason is because if CBS or NBC or whoever wanted to get some footage of them commenting on something, guess where they have to go to get the footage? Right, Fox. So maybe under the Fair Use Act, they'll say, well, these words were said earlier today on Fox blah, blah, blah with Sarah Palin about Christine O'Donnell in the race in Delaware. So it's total, complete spin control for each of these four candidates. Mitt Romney, I don't trust this man as far as I can throw him. Mike Huckabee, I kind of like him. Still not sure if I trust him. Sarah Palin, I think she's really pretty. My wife told me I could say that. She's really attractive, and I kind of like her. I don't trust her. I don't. She appointed a baby-killing judge on the Supreme Court of Alaska. Yes, she did. Didn't need to. So, oh wait, who else? I'm forgetting some. Oh, Rick Santorum. Rick Santorum, I like him, don't trust him. He endorsed Christy Todd Whitman, save her hind end. She's one of the most left-wing lunatics. He endorsed Arlen Specter, which is why Rick Santorum lost his seat, because the pro-life Republican vote was so disgusted with him, they threw him out of office. So, it's a time for mourning and grieving, because right now, we're surrounded by people who are trying to co-opt the Tea Party movement. What about someone like Alan Keyes? Or Rand Paul? Well, we want somebody who can win. You want a winner even if the winner is going to betray you? Even if the winner is going to sell you out? When we come back from this break, I'm going to talk about somebody who's a winner. Oh, yeah. It's 1994 all over again. Deja vu. How do you say that? Deja vu, java, javi. Newt Gingrich. This man, I don't trust him. Newt Gingrich, I don't trust him. Newt Gingrich, I don't trust him.
You have to help me. Being held here against my will. If you're getting this message, please tell my mom I love her.
Don't try to be subtle or clever. Use a pile driver. Hit the point once. Then come back and hit it a second time. A tremendous whack. Sir Winston Churchill.
Welcome back to the program, friend. One of my staff, courageous though he was, I just fired him. During the break, before I fired him, he said to me, I think this show is becoming a little bit of a rant. You know, it's okay to rant if you're right. All right, so I'll stop ranting for a minute. Let me talk seriously about Newt Gingrich. There's news articles out there right now that are talking about him meeting on a regular basis with Tea Party leaders. That's good politics on his part. I honor that. I respect that because he recognizes the force, the power, the fire of the Tea Party movement. My concern, and I'm going to be very blunt with you, is that most Tea Party leaders are novices, total novices, some of them, in the political realm. They don't even realize when they're being seduced. They don't realize when they're being bought. Now, Newt Gingrich was recently on some show and talking about the possibility of him being a president or whatever. And of course, he didn't mention anything about the so-called social issues, the so-called ethical issues. And I'm speaking specifically of whether or not we kill our babies in the womb by abortion, whether or not marriage stays between a man and a woman or goes to be between two men or two women. He completely steered clear of these things. And I submit to you that if the date was 1850 and somebody wanted to talk about interstate commerce or about foreign trade or about the struggles that we have with our southern border with Mexico and did not want to address slavery, okay, in 1850, I would say that that person did not have their finger on the pulse of the nation, and more importantly, they did not have their heart in tune with the Almighty. And at the end of the day, that is the struggle that is happening right now with the Tea Party movement, and that is my fear concerning Newt Gingrich. There is an ethical hierarchy, and I ask you to hear me in the fear of God. If we put money ahead of innocent blood, then we are in deep trouble. And our ethical compass is marred. You see, the unborn have no natural constituency. Women fought for women's voting rights because they were women. Black Americans fought for civil rights for black people because they were black. They were the victim. Parents fought against child labor because they loved their kids. Grandparents fought because they loved their kids. There was a natural constituency, and there was a self-interest. A baby cannot lift up its voice for itself. An in utero child cannot run, cannot beg for mercy, cannot try an act of self-defense. An unborn child has no natural constituency except the Almighty. And at the end of the day, if there is a God in heaven, and if he did give us his laws, the Ten Commandments, then his laws are supreme, and he can and will and has brought men and nations into judgment for the times when they betrayed his laws. Now, I make no bones about it. I believe that communism and socialism are a betrayal of the commandment, you shall not steal. They're a betrayal of the commandment, you shall not covet. But there is a hierarchy, and child killing, the shedding of innocent blood, and the blood that cries out from the ground for justice, this is the greatest crime on the face of the earth right now. And if we don't stop it, there will literally be hell to pay. I'll be right back. In return for my love, they accuse me, even as I make prayer for them. So they reward me evil for good and hatred for my love. Samuel Adams said, "It does not require a majority to prevail, but rather an irate, tireless minority, keen to set brush fires in people's minds." One of the reasons that I am so concerned for the Tea Party movement, our leaders, our activists, is because we're being seduced by people who want victory more than they want principle. Samuel Adams said, you don't need a majority to prevail, but you need people who can set brush fires in people's minds. That means they can articulate the truth passionately, clearly, succinctly. When Newt Gingrich and his friends took power in 1994 with the Republican Revolution, think back. What did it get us? I don't want to see the same thing happen again. See you tomorrow.